Hey guys, and welcome back for today's video. Now, you're probably very well aware, especially if you're following my channel, that I love going over and talking about all of these different polls that come out. But I will also say that polls aren't the end-all, be-all, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So perhaps this point in the 2020 Democratic primary process, you've sided with a particular candidate, or maybe you're leaning towards somebody that you're going to be voting for, and maybe you're displeased, or maybe you're very pleased with what the polls are saying about them at this point in the process. But I just want to show you, I'm going to go through the 4 early primary and caucus states back from 2016, as well as 4 key Midwestern states, and just show you what the polling average was saying in these state-specific results, and then compare them to what actually happened, just to show you that a candidate can perhaps significantly outperform or underperform what the polls are saying, but sometimes they are accurate as well. So we're going to see what the 2016 picture and data is showing us. So taking a look at Iowa, of course, to be expected, there was a ton of polls going into that election, and Bernie Sanders outperformed his Real Clear Politics polling average by nearly 6 percentage points. Clinton outperformed her numbers by about 2 percentage points, and then Martin O'Malley underperformed by about 4 percentage points. So you can see that in this scenario, both of the top 2 candidates outperformed those average numbers, and Sanders a bit significantly so by about 6 percentage points. Going over to the next state in the process, that is the New Hampshire primary, and we can see the Real Clear Politics polling average had Sanders at about 54.5, Clinton at about 41.2. So then Sanders, the actual results, he outperformed those numbers by about 6 percentage points. Clinton underperformed her numbers by about 3 percentage points. Then going over and taking a look at Nevada, these numbers were actually a bit more consistent to what actually took place. So Sanders outperformed his numbers by just about 1 percentage point. Clinton outperformed her numbers by 4 percentage points in Nevada. Then going over and taking a look at South Carolina, this was a situation where Sanders actually underperformed his numbers and did really poorly in this state, losing to what his Real Clear Politics average numbers were by about 4 to 5 percentage points, while Clinton vastly outperformed her numbers by about 15 percentage points. So you can see some pretty significant swings, but also you can see situations where it's relatively close to what the polls are saying. So those were the 4 early primary and caucus states. Now I want to show you what these 4 key Midwestern states were showing. So we go over and take a look at Pennsylvania. Sanders outperformed his numbers in Pennsylvania by about 5 points, Clinton by about 1 percentage point. And then we go to Wisconsin, where Sanders outperformed his polling numbers by about 9 percentage points. Clinton underperformed her numbers in Wisconsin by about 2 percentage points. Then we go to Michigan. Big swing here for Bernie Sanders, where he outperformed his polling average by about 12 percentage points. Clinton underperformed her polling in Michigan by 10 percentage points, so a huge swing there. And then Minnesota, this caucus, the polling was just absolutely terrible. There wasn't a whole lot of polling going into this one, but from what we can see, Sanders outperforming his polling average by over 30 percentage points, while Clinton underperformed her polling by about 20 percentage points. And you can get this specifically in caucuses because it's a lot harder to participate in a caucus than just a regular primary. So you don't get quite as many voters that turn out, and that can mean that it's a bit harder to get the polling as accurate. You can get more variance because less people are showing up, and it tends to be people that are a bit more politically active, and this was very beneficial to Bernie Sanders specifically back in 2016, where a lot of these very politically active members of the Democratic base come out and show up for him in these caucuses. And you can see, for instance, in a state like Minnesota, where Sanders completely dominated and crushed it, especially in contrast to what the polls were saying. Definitely going to be a strategy that continues for the Sanders campaign in 2020 as they continue to try to do well, not just in caucus states, but also try to carry that over and do a bit better in these primary results as well. But we also take a look. The Michigan result was a primary, as well as the Wisconsin result, and those were 2 areas where Sanders vastly outperformed what the polls were saying that he was going to do. So again, it might be a situation here in 2020 where you're leaning, or you've decided on who you're going to be supporting in this primary and caucus process as we work our way through it. And don't let the polls get you too up or too down, because what actually happens on election day can be something that's very different than what these polling averages are saying. Now, I just only looked at 8 states here. There was obviously a lot more states that held votes, And a lot of the polling data was a bit more accurate, some of it not so much. It's just kind of a mixed bag, and you really can't evaluate it until after the fact just how accurate or inaccurate that polling was. So I hope you found this video interesting. Just wanted to give you guys out there who may be disappointed or really feeling good about how your candidate is doing, just saying that it's not set in stone. These polls, they mean something, but they're not the end-all be-all, and the results can vary based on what actually happens on Election Day. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, and hope to see you guys back here for my next video.